what are you going to do? Are you going to fold, or are you going to keep fighting and keep going after it every day and give 100%? I mean, yeah, your body's going to be sore one day. I mean, shoot, I have both my knees are killing me. Both my ankles are killing me, dude. But that's not going to stop me from saying, oh, go up to the trainer and say, hey, I can't play today.
You are now tuning in to the Roughnecks Podcast with your host, Cole Nixon. Much love.
Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. I am your host, Cole Nixon. I try to bring on and interview successful people in the world of business, entrepreneurship, athletics, and coaching every week to share their stories and the lessons that they have learned. If you haven't already, be sure to head over to Instagram and follow us at Roughnecks Podcast and Twitter at Roughnecks Pod C1. We are also on Facebook at Roughnecks Podcast. Be sure to grab the bull by the horns, but let's get into this week's episode. Man, oh man, we are back with another episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. What's up, y'all? This is episode 35 of the podcast. Crazy to think, for me at least, that we are 35 weeks in. That means 35 straight weeks, and we've had some incredible guests. Before we get into this week's guest, I want to talk about what's already been announced by the time this episode comes out, but today will be like the first or second day. The summer launch, the summer sale for the Roughnecks Podcast merchandise will be starting on May 16th, this Sunday. Well, it'll be after the yesterday from when this comes out, but the 16th through the 22nd, I will have stuff on sale. You must prepay in that time frame for me to be able to get it to you. I have stickers, wristbands, koozies, t-shirts, long sleeves, even some flags. I have limited supply of koozies, stickers, wristband. Well, stickers I can get more of, but limited supply of koozies, wristbands, and flags. Just very limited supply of the flags. So if you want a flag, I think I only have 3 left. So definitely get those. The shirts, I have a new design, which I've been, teasing with. A lot of people have probably already seen it, especially if you follow my TikTok. You probably already know the new design. But that sale starting the 16th through the 22nd, make sure to get yourself some Roughnecks merchandise. And yeah. Joining me this week to continue our adversity segment for the month of May is someone who I go back with for quite an amount of time. Caleb Scott, what's up, man? Welcome to the Roughnecks Podcast.
Thanks for having me on, Cole.
Hey, man.
Thank you.
I figured I'd had to get you on eventually. I probably Dante's going to be on probably, so I got to get everybody on.
Yeah, I've been asking since whenever you started this 35 weeks ago when I'm going to get a chance to spread my wisdom.
You, for some reason, think that you're going to have the best episode ever. You're going to bring in 1 million views. I got to be on top, So Tyler Schuster, if you're listening, because Tyler Schuster holds the top episode still, and if you're listening, Schuster, he's coming for you. But there's a lot of pressure on me now. There's been a lot of people who have challenged Schuster and haven't quite got there. Chris Bonner was close, but he didn't quite get there. But we go back a good amount of time. We didn't really get close until what? High school, like junior year of high school, probably.
Yeah, I think it was I think it might have been summer of senior year. We started to get real close. Started coming over to your house a little bit more. But yeah, when we when we became captains on the football team senior year, I thought that's when kind of came close. And then ever since, we've always hang out every summer. Every winter break. Everybody
has those groups that they have in high school, and everybody goes their separate ways, but I think
for sure
of that group, me and you, Alex wasn't really part of that group, but of that group, me and you definitely stayed the closest. I still talk to Dante, but not as much as I talk to you.
Actually, I talked to Dante the other day. I told him congrats on graduating. I was very proud of him for that. So,
man, it's crazy to think that 4 years ago we were just some dumb high school kids doing some dumb things on Friday nights.
For sure. Funny thing is, all you guys are graduating. I still got a year left after this year, unfortunately, but still get to play another year of baseball still.
Exactly. exactly, man. Part of me wishes I could go play another year. I mean, I could go play another year of football, but there's too many factors that play into me not doing that.
Yeah, that's a lot of money right there too.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially
That's the biggest factor right there. That is the biggest factor.
For sure. I don't blame you.
So I kick off all my episodes by letting the guests tell the Roughnecks listeners a little about who they are. So tell the listeners who Cal Scott is. By the way, I will call him Cal Scott or Scott, probably not Caleb.
Yep, I'm Caleb Scott. I went to Watkins Memorial High School, graduated in 2017. I currently go to Wilmington College. I play baseball, I play first base. But yeah, that's about it. Gone back with Cole for quite a while now.
So this is our adversity segment, and I want to ask you this first. It's a very simple question, but it could go a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. What is the first thing you think of when you hear the word adversity?
First thing I really think of is like when things are going really, really good for you, and then it just kind of like takes like a turn and like it just all goes bad, but you kind of try to keep it right in that middle, the happy medium of like a good, solid place, not trying to let things go bad. But I mean, obviously they're not going to go good. You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to connect to me on this. The first person I think of when I hear the word adversity, you already know exactly who I'm going to say. Coach said, man.
It's funny because that I almost brought something up about that, but I was like, I'll let Cole say that. But dude, Coach said for sure.
I was thinking about having him on, trying to get him on this month, but I changed my mind. But I'm definitely going to eventually want to have Coach Sev on this podcast. But dude, for our Pataska listeners and people who grew up and were around Coach Sev, Coach Sev was one of the biggest teachers of adversity. He was always preaching about adversity.
I felt like every halftime you'd hear adversity probably about 7 or 8 times just come out of his mouth.
Dude, it didn't matter if we were up 40 or down 40. He used adversity.
I mean, we could have been at Utica killing them by 40 points at halftime, but adversity, that, adversity, this. I mean, and to the point. I mean, yeah, he's right. I mean, and he's also trying to teach us life lessons also with adversity. I mean, even at work, I mean, I bet a lot of people went through COVID. I mean, adversity through COVID, not having a job or something like that. I mean, even when our season got canceled last year, I mean, when you go through that, I mean, from you practice in the fall and work up all the way to the winter, and you're so excited to have a 40, for me, 40 game season, and then not even halfway through the season, your season's gone. I mean, I didn't know when we got sent home, I didn't know it was going to go.
Oh, no, we went home for spring break. That's when we went home. And then I did not expect to never be back on campus. No one expected it to happen. I don't think anybody really truly believed what was happening.
Yeah, it was really weird because I was just laying in my room one day, and one of my buddies came in. He's like, "Hey man, they're about to send us all home." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? No, that's not gonna happen. We're gonna stay here." But shit you not, I mean, 2 hours later we had a team meeting in our facilities, and it was my coach probably had an hour-long talk with us about what's going on. And if you knew my coach, he didn't believe in it until he actually got COVID, which is the funny thing. But he told us it was just another flu and that we're going to be sound for 30 days and that we'll come back after 30 days. And I was like, all right. And 2 days later, boom, our season was gone, taken away. It was, I'm very, very passionate about baseball. So, it was very, very hard for me to get that through my mind that I won't be playing. I didn't get to play last spring. And plus, I even started off really, really hot. And
that just is an insult to the wound.
Yeah, it was tough. It was real tough.
Yeah, I feel you on that because, I had the similar thing, except, we got sent home in the spring, and then I had till fall. And, in my mind, I'm like, oh, by fall, we'll be fine. Everything's going to be okay. And then, time goes by, and then all of a sudden there's one day at work where coach texted us and said we're having an emergency meeting tomorrow at like 10 a.m. or something. And I'm like, yeah, that's not good. Like if it's just a random meeting in the morning, if he's having a morning meeting, like something's not right. And I was at work on Zoom, and funny guys, all of my coworkers were just sitting around me like, you having a season or not? And they're like, the conference decided to cancel the season. And I'm like, what hurt me was I was like, there goes my last year of football.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't even imagine that, to be honest. I mean, just kind of something that's out of your control. I mean, just
that's
kind
the
of
thing about adversity. Adversity, usually it's out of your control. You don't, and you have two ways to go with it. You can either, complain and play the victim, or you can do something about it. And that was like the thing that I had no clue if I was ever going to play another game. They were talking about a spring season. And then, I'm in the weight room every single day, but there was also times where I'm questioning, like, dude, why am I doing this? Like, is it even worth it? But then I realized, this might be your last chance to play football. This might be your last opportunity. So make the most of it, because that's another thing. When I think of adversity, I think opportunity, because there's an opportunity in every type of adversity for something good.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. Another good example that I saw was kind of adversity and leadership is kind of what Justin Fields did this past August with the Big Ten canceling till the spring, and then he kind of got onto live TV, kind of that big role model guy in the Big Ten, and he kind of fought for his season, so he could potentially have. I mean, he did have a season. I mean, 6 games, and then plus CFB and all that. So that's kind of like who I thought was definitely a big leadership guy and fought through adversity. I mean, he fought basically not really for his career, but for like more money or like a better draft pick. So
he's going through more adversity now, man. He's got a chip on his shoulder after that draft.
For sure. I mean, the Bears, I
think that's actually a decent fit for him, though. I think it's not a bad fit.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, but you've handled some other adversity yourself, and I want to talk about this in a different aspect because you've gone to 3 different schools, correct?
I went to Eastern Gateway Community College for a semester. I went to Owens Community College, and then now I'm here at Wilmington College. So take us through that kind of, and it's nothing against you. I'm not trying to say anything like that. Yeah,
that whole thing of, all right, I'm at this school, and then it's like, all right, I'm going somewhere else, and then I'm going somewhere else again. Like, take us through like your mindset through all that and how you decide like, well, shit, this isn't where I want to be, but I need to. You knew you needed to get somewhere else, and like take us through your mindset and like handling that adversity.
So in high school, I originally was committed, or whatever you want to call it, to Eastern Gateway Community College, and the coach there, I met with him 3 or 4 times before even a practice. Like he was a great guy. He pitched for the Cleveland Indians. His name is Jason Stanford. Great guy, but he I don't know what happened. I still to this day I don't know what happened, but he was let go 2 days before even school started, and I was like, well, that's not fair. I mean, even the players that you recruited, like me. So I stayed there for a semester, try to figure things out. But yeah, I just didn't think I was in a good place at the time. My roommates, I wasn't a big fan of them, and it was just kind of like I was going home every weekend, and I didn't want that for college life. I didn't want to feel like I had to go home just to get away from
college. Yeah,
exactly, and like just going back to there. I remember sitting in my apartment, and all I could smell was weed. And I didn't want to, and you know how I am. I'm not really a big fan of all that stuff. And I mean, he would just smoke it right there in the room. And I felt like, I don't know, I just kind of felt like it wasn't a good place for me at the time.
But that's a good thing to be able to recognize, like, all right, this is not a good place. This is not where I should be.
And plus, I mean, like the coaching there wasn't the greatest. I felt like something was taken away from me when I was there by having a former pro athlete from him coaching me, having his own facilities in Youngstown, to not having his facilities to not having that pro. It was kind of I mean, I had to. It was a tough decision for sure because I still talk to some of the guys that go there, but it was changing the coaches and all that just kind of killed me and where I was at. I mean, I didn't like it. I didn't really like half of the guys there anyway, so I was like, it was just time. So then I decided to go to Owens. I thought that was the best option for me at the moment. And definitely when I got there, the guys were awesome. Coach, I have mixed feelings about him. I'm not a big fan. When you're sitting behind a guy hitting below 200, and you know that you could definitely be at least hitting above 200, but sitting behind a guy that was hitting 200, it was not fun.
Let's stop and talk about that real quick, though. So that's like, because that right there is adversity. Like that is something you also can't handle. So what is the best way you think to handle that? This isn't a sports aspect, but it can be related to life as well.
Yeah, I mean, by handling that, I mean, the only thing you can really do is just continue to be a good teammate. You don't want to start skipping practice or, I mean, even to related to like a job. I mean, you don't want if something goes bad, you don't want to just start just kind of shading away from everything. You kind of want to I just kind of kept going at it. I mean, I still continued to work out, still continued to do extra work and all that. I showed up early. Left
Essentially,
late.
You're continuing to prove yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, yes, in a way. I mean, I struggled at the beginning of that year, but I eventually started to work my way into getting some at bats later on in the year. But I think it was those extra work that really helped me. But still, I mean, sitting behind that guy that was hitting 200 it's not fun. But I still continued to get my work in and lift and all that. So I mean, I just didn't quit. If anything goes bad in life, a lot of people just kind of lay down and just quit. I feel like a lot of people in our generation do that. Either
it's the easiest way out.
Yeah, it's the easiest way out. But I feel like if you just lay down and quit, I mean, you're just gonna stay there. You're a quitter. We don't like quitters around here, especially me. I hate quitters, dude. It's so annoying. When people we have a lot of people that quit here. It is super annoying, especially when you have somewhat of talent and you just quit out of nowhere because either things aren't going your way or
dude, quitting, I mean, especially at football, dude, we bring in, 40, 50 guys, whatever, every year. And I came in with one of the largest classes Ohio Wesleyan's ever seen since Tom Watts has been the head coach, I believe. I think I'm stating the truth, and there's 6 of us graduating this year. Now, some of them are coming back next year. So I think there's a handful of guys coming back next year. I think we have 11 or maybe 12 guys. I don't remember for sure. I can't be 100%, but I think there's 6 of us that are graduating this year. It just goes to show everybody. I mean, a lot of people too, once COVID kind of happened, I think some people are taking a year off. I don't know exactly. There's a lot of different things, but a lot of people just quit because, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
Part of that problem, I hate to say it, part of the problem is the world because we give too many damn participation trophies.
I agree.
I am tired of these, you got last place, here's a trophy. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But also some people figure out that college sports just isn't for them.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a handful of people that I've seen, not just at Wilmington, at other places that shouldn't be on a college baseball field, or even what I've seen from the football team. I mean, what I've seen is some of them shouldn't be on a college football field either. So,
yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with going in and, finding out it's not for you. But here, my mom's one rule that she always had with me, because, I had my struggles in high school with basketball because you went through it as well as I did. I struggled with a lot of different things that I won't get into. But, there was one time I'll never forget that I said I wanted to quit. And my mom, she said, no, as soon as that season starts, once you have that first game, you cannot quit. She said, you finish the season out, and then you want to not play next year, that's fine. But once the season starts, your team's counting on you at that point.
Yeah, see, I never really grew up like that. But yet again, I've also known that I never really quit things halfway. I've never been like one of those things that like, oh, I start something, but I just don't quit halfway. I got to finish it through the whole year. Like the last year of basketball, I knew I wasn't my sophomore year. I knew I wasn't coming back the following year. I mean, but I still continued to go in, and I knew they were counting on me to be there every day. But I knew I wasn't going to quit during the season. Now after, I was done. I'd rather focus on football and baseball, focus on baseball during the winter and all that. So it definitely just freed up some time for me.
Yeah, and like there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, playing a couple of years and then giving it up. Like we all played sports and eventually gave them up. Like every one of us, most of the people listening are athletes, and we all play a sport, and then we're all right. It's not for us, and that's okay. But like that's the thing is you have to learn. You have to try those things. You have to learn what's for you. You have to fail. I just posted a video I think on my TikTok where like don't be afraid of failure, because like every failure that I can think of that I've had, I have learned way more than my successes.
Yeah, because I agree.
Failure is the biggest teacher.
Yeah, well, even like this year, dude, like during our season, I was kind of struggling at the beginning. I'm starting to pick it up a little bit.
You're the home run leader. I don't want to hear it, aren't you? For the team?
Not for the team, yeah. But like I was struggling like middle of the year. I was struggling a little bit. It was just a mental game. Really, I didn't think anything was wrong with my swing. But it was just a mental game. I mean, I could have easily just folded over, stayed at a 200 average, and just kind of just cruise through the season. But I mean, like, just like I go kind of running through my day. I mean, right after class, I go right to the field, get some extra work in off the machine, and go to practice and all that. And then I sometimes I stay after, not as much since I've been able to get to the field early. But I mean, I could have easily just rolled over. I fought through some adversity through that too. But I just could have easily just rolled over and just kind of been like, I don't want to be here. But I continued to fight. I definitely thought that was some adversity I fought through this spring season. So,
and like my thing that I've always told myself, I mean, I'm not 100% great at it. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm perfect, but you have to fall to be able to get back up. You have to have lows to be able to go like climb a hill. Like you have to be at the bottom of a hill to be able to get to the top. Like you can't like those bottoms are okay. But it's the bottoms. We talked about this last week with Joe Delagrave. It's not the adversity that defines you. It's how you react. That's what defines you and your character and who you are.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my Instagram post a couple weeks ago, but it was that little quote said, "Adversity introduces a man to himself." It's always kind of something that I kind of started to follow along this spring. Actually, a guy that plays at Bowling Wallace, actually, that's where I got the quote from. Really good dude. But yeah, it was kind of like when I was struggling, I saw that quote and I was like, wow. I mean, yeah, it really does introduce, I mean, you as a man, like what are you going to do? Are you going to fold, or are you going to keep fighting and keep going after it every day and give 100%? I mean, yeah, your body's going to be sore one day. I mean, shoot, I have both my knees are killing me. Both my ankles are killing me, dude. But that's not going to stop me from saying, oh, go up to the trainer and say, hey, I can't play today. Yeah, it's just fold. No, fuck that, dude. I'm gonna keep going. I mean, we have a lot of guys here that, oh, I rolled my ankle, I have to be out for 3 weeks. No, dude, who keep playing. I mean, take some ibuprofen, whatever, but you just got to keep fighting through it. I mean, yeah, it might suck because you might be a little bit uncomfortable, but you just got to keep fighting through it. I mean, it is what it is.
Oh, dude, I think me and you were the same when it came to injuries. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but me, I played that whole game with that elbow broken. Like you're not going to keep me out.
Yeah,
like no, I literally have to be my mom. Now my mom was, my mom and how she is. My mom always said, you do not lay on that field unless you cannot walk or you are knocked out, you better walk your ass off that field if you're hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that statement.
Well, because the thing too is like, you never know when it's going to get taken away. You never know when it's going to be your last game. Why are you going to quit? Because my wrist hurts, my ankle hurts a little bit. Yeah, can you still play? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying everybody needs to go play through injury. Like there's times where you should not play. Like Teddy Houlihan, if you're listening, you should never play another down of football in your life. But you never, like, just look at COVID, look at our seasons. They get taken away. You never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Like that's kind of one thing that's been in the back of my mind. Like, let's say, I mean, I don't get tested anymore because I have the vaccine, but let's say at the beginning of the year, I did have a positive test. I'm out for 2 weeks. I'm out for 8 games right there. I'm like, so I try to keep that in the back of my mind. Like, this could possibly be your last game. This could possibly be your last game. So that's why I kind of have that fight in me, saying basically you got to keep going through. I mean,
like the last game thing, man, and like that through, the fall season getting taken away. And then we were told we were going to have 3 games, and we did. And then they threw in another one, so we were going to have 4. And it was at Worcester, what was our last game, but I didn't know at the time. And I was sitting there. They took the starters out, which defense played like shit. Like, I had a terrible game, but I was like, we were winning, whatever. But I was like sitting there on the bench, and I was sitting beside Lucas Cooper, and I looked at him, and I went, can you believe that it's about over? And we were just kind of watching everybody like all happy and everything, because it was also our first win of the season. We had a rough spring. But, I mean, we were sitting there like, we got another one next week still. And I tweeted this, and like my thing is not knowing the last time I walked off the field was the last time that I'd ever walk off the field was one of the hardest things to handle. And that's why you have to be grateful for every single time you play the sport you love, or every single time you see your grandma, you see your mom, you see your dad. Like, you have to be grateful for all of those things.
Yeah, for sure. See that? I mean, I only have 1 more year left, and like in baseball, I mean, you could have like a weird ass injury. Like, I mean, you never know. You might have to have like Tommy John or some of those injuries that take a year to recover from. Like, one of my buddies right now, he's actually at Wilmington. He went to my JUCO also, but he had Tommy John, and dude, he's just been down in the dumps lately because he's getting very aggravated because he can't do the things that he's normally wants to do. And he's going through some adversity also right now. But I mean, he's gonna get back after. I think he'll definitely help us next year too. But he's fine through some adversity. I've seen him. I mean, there'd be days that I wouldn't even talk to him because he'd be so down in the dumps that like he just wouldn't want to do anything. And I'm like, dude, you gotta get up. You gotta go do something. I mean, even if you go take a walk around campus, shit, you gotta do something. You can't just sit there and just eat yourself alive, basically.
Dude, that leads perfectly into what I wanted to talk about, because we talked about a little bit last week with Joe Delagrave when he got paralyzed, and he said the biggest thing were the people that I had around me. And what you're doing right now, like, that's exactly what you got to do for some, like, 1, you need that when you're going through adversity. 2, it's great to be that person that's always there. Like, you need those friends in your life when you're going through some tough shit. Like,
for sure.
You know me, I've gone through some breakups where I don't handle breakups well. I really don't.
Yeah, I know.
I don't.
It happens. It happens. I mean, me and you both have been there before. So
I remember sitting in the barn one night and just bullshitting back and forth. Like, but those are the things you need in your life, because
exactly. See, like when remember when I called you, when I was not gonna lie, I was bawling my eyes out because my mom. She I didn't know what was going on at the moment. I just knew I was driving from Wilmington to Columbus. I knew she was at the hospital. And I knew she wasn't doing well. And I called you bawling my eyes out because I didn't know what was going on. Like, I didn't know what was going on. And I got to the hospital as fast as I can, and ended up, my mom got a heart attack. And that was one of those scariest days of my life. Like, I still remember every moment. I remember walking back to my dorm. I remember everything. And like I had to miss practice that night, and I had missed class. And dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, that was one of the scariest moments of my life. Right there was, I mean, potentially. I mean, it wasn't that bad of a heart attack, but it could have been easily something. It could have been way worse. Thankful not. We caught it early, and she's doing okay now. So that's definitely one of like a personal adversity and family problems that I've definitely gone through. That was probably one of the toughest moments of my life, was my mom and not knowing what really happened until I got there. And I remember she saw my face for the first time after she went into surgery, and she came out and she saw my face. She knew. I mean, you know how moms are. They know if you've been crying or not. And she looked at me and she just started crying, and I obviously cried right back to her, and I gave her a big hug and I just told her I loved her, and very thankful that she's still here.
Dude, I'll never forget that night, because I'm literally, my first instinct was, "You want me to come?" Like I was ready to get in the car too. Like, let's.
Yeah, I remember. I think I remember you asking me that too.
But like that's the thing. Like, I know you do the same thing for me. Like that's
exactly I would.
And just because I don't want to say like only help people that'll help you. Because, I mean, we all, like, everybody help everybody. Everybody love everybody, ELE. But, like, it goes to show, like, you never know, like, if you help somebody with their issues, you never know what could happen. You never know what opportunity that could bring. And I'm not saying you need to help everybody, because, you know.
It's impossible to help everybody.
Yes.
So.
Yes. But, like, you don't be like, oh, like, you know, because we know people that have done it with us. Like, you'll try and talk to them about something, they just kind of blow you off, and you're like I like actually needed, like, I wanted somebody to talk to. I needed to talk, like, get this off my chest. And, you know, like, don't be that person that's like, whatever. Like, I don't really care about your issues and blah, blah, blah. Like, help them. Be there for them.
Yeah, for sure.
So I want to ask you this. Now, I want to talk about handling adversity. And, you know, my first thing is, like, when you have adversity, don't freak out. I'm guilty of this. I do it. You know me.
I feel like everybody does it. I mean, everybody does it every once in a while. It does freak out. So, I mean,
I've gotten a lot better at it, though. I'll say, not like trying to toot my own horn, but, like, you know, take a second when things are going crazy and just stop and just look at the bigger picture, because, you know, there's always the saying, adversity makes you stronger. And it's crazy. It might sound a little crazy, but lately, like, when things start going wrong, you know, I'll stop and I'll be like, I'll smile. I'll be like, you know, like, because there's something on the other side of this.
Yeah, for sure. And, like, I mean, even if it's like a personal problem, or during sports, or during life, or whatever, kind of another thing that I've always followed by is don't worry about it for more than 5 minutes if it's not going to affect you in 5 years. That's kind of something that I've always kind of lived by. I had a teacher in high school, Miss Barron. God, I miss her so much. But she was the one that actually told me that, and I was like, I kind of looked at it, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. And, like, the things that I was worrying about in high school 5 years ago, they don't mean anything now. they don't mean anything right now.
No, not at all.
I'm perfectly fine now. I mean, even 6 months later, they didn't really affect me. So
yeah, it's like Granger Smith. You know, I'm a big Granger Smith person.
Absolutely.
But he, you know, he answered one of my questions on his podcast, and he talked about it. But then, like, he talked about, like, the issues, and he journals, and he goes, you know, every day I'll write down, like, hey, does this matter in a year? He's like, I'm looking back at stuff for a year ago from COVID, and, like, some of that still doesn't even apply anymore. He goes, it's crazy. Yeah. He's like, it's one of the things he does, and he's every day I'll go back to a year ago and look at what I said. Hey, does this matter? And I'll answer the question a year later. And he's like, it's crazy that, like, the problems that you think you have, you got to kind of sometimes take a second and really look at the bigger picture, because they're not always going to be there, and they might not even be there in a day. the other thing too is my thing, kind of going back off of what I was saying with helping others and everything. Karma keeps score on both sides.
Yes, that is very, very true. Definitely do think karma keeps score. I mean, shoot, I've definitely been hit with some karma too. I mean, we've all been there, but I definitely think it does get its way back around for sure.
Yeah, like I just posted, going back to, I'm getting big on the TikTok now, but I just posted the other day on the old TikTok, and it was a quote that I honestly thought of. I don't know if anybody's ever said it, but like, it's when stuff's going wrong, a lot of us ask why. But you ever noticed how, like, when things are going good, no one asks why?
Yeah.
We all think that everything good in our life we deserve. Do we ever consider that maybe the shit that's going wrong we deserve too? I'm not saying everybody deserves like everything that happens to them, but like sometimes you got to take a step back and look at, oh, I got screwed over by this person. How did you treat them?
Yeah, that's very true. Like, I've been in those shoes too. I mean, I'm not saying I treat everybody bad, but I mean, definitely have treated some people in ways that I definitely 100% regret. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that.
So give me your biggest piece of advice to somebody who's going through adversity, what you would tell them, any type of adversity, no matter how big, how small, what would you tell them?
Basically, what I would tell someone what to do is basically don't labor and fold, don't quit. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Basically, you just gotta keep fighting. Get through another day. I mean, there's always a bright side on. I mean, there's always gonna be, you're gonna have another good day to get over that hump, or to get to the next good day or whatever.
I like what you said about get through another day. Like, take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
Don't work too far ahead. Like, just
agreed.
Slow down, because I feel like, especially like people of our age or people in high school, like, oh, what am I going to do for a job? You get all worked up and like, I went through it. I was scared to shitless about what I was going to do after college.
See, I haven't even thought about what I'm going to do after college. I know I want to get into sales, but I mean, like, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, you just got to live one day at a time. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah, I'm graduating with my degree, but I'm going to put in pools and stuff back in again because I love doing it. But I'm eventually probably going to venture off and do, use my degree. And I still don't know exactly what I'm doing because people, especially now I'm graduating, people will know, and they're like, oh, what's your degree? And I'm like, marketing. And they're like, oh, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Yet. I don't know. Like,
just kind of live your life. I mean,
dude, some of the people I've had on who are in their 30s or whatever, they still don't even know what they want to do. Like, they have a job, but it doesn't mean this was never what I pictured myself doing. Like, it happens.
I mean, my brother Brock, he went from working at Best Buy to Chipotle to AT&T, back to Chipotle, which Chipotle and AT&T and Best Buy are all three completely different jobs. I mean, AT&T and Best Buy have very similar, but from Chipotle to back to AT&T, selling phones in stores to being a manager, and now sells phones to some type of military base, I think. But yeah, I mean, shoot, and he's 30 years old now, and he's just figured it out. Just figuring it out. I mean, not just figuring it out. We never had it figured out. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
The questions that I always wrap up with: if you could go back in time, tell yourself one thing, what would it be?
Definitely wish I had better grades in high school. Definitely one thing. It's not. I don't think it wasn't because I wasn't trying. Definitely
it was just easy to do the little and get away with it in high school.
Exactly. And I mean, being in high school, definitely thought I could have done a little bit more. Especially with me, I am a little dyslexic. I have been classified as dyslexic, but that's one thing that I've definitely battled through with my life. I definitely is getting a lot better since high school. That's why I think I almost have like a 3. I think I almost had like a 3.4 GPA in high school right now. So, and in high school I had I think I graduated with like a 2.2. Not gonna lie.
Jesus.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in high school I was like a 2.2, 2.3. I had like an 18 on my ACT, which 18 on ACT is
I got a 21 twice and said I'm done. I quit.
Yeah. So those are the things that I've definitely battled through, and wish I would. That's one thing that I would definitely tell myself. I mean, because it would have made getting into college a lot easier for sure. That's why I went to the junior college route, was because I could have gone to Heidelberg, but I would have been paying the big bucks to go there.
Mm-hmm.
The big bucks. Like I would have been in debt for the rest of my life. So
that's me.
Shut up. No, you won't be. Shut up. Yeah. No, you won't be. You've told me how much you've been paying. Shut up.
It's not fun. But all right. Anyway, next question is, what are the goals of Cal Scott going forward? You know, graduation's coming into the picture next year, real world. What are the plans?
Yeah. So my plans are obviously to graduate. I definitely should be graduating in May of 2022 I'm a double major in business administration and sports management with a minor in coaching. Definitely wanting to get into some type of sales, if that's with a sports team or if that's just selling cars or even selling phones, who knows. Definitely want to stay in with the baseball. Definitely want to coach somewhere. Don't know where. Might just go back to Watkins. I know Coach Schoen would love to have me back. I've coached there before. You know, we'll see. We'll see what happens after. I mean, just got to take one day at a time, right, Cole?
One day at a time, man. One day at a time.
Yep.
So, with that being said, it's time for the best segment of the podcast, which is Motivation Monday. Before I get into that, though, I got to give a quick shout out to our other buddy from high school of the group, D Fair, aka Dante Fair, which I don't know why we always just made the simplest nicknames for each other with like Cal Scott, D Fair. Yeah, I don't know, but
I think it was our Instagram names. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, probably. But he made these audio clips. The audio you're listening to right now, as we speak, is made by him, and the new intro music that you hear at the beginning. Also him, and the official Roughnecks Podcast audio, also him. So, but let's get into the best segment of the podcast, which is Motivation Monday. What do you want to give our Roughnecks listeners a little motivational bump? What do you have to set the tone for their week on their Monday morning?
Yeah, basically get after it this week. If something's going wrong, something's not going in your favor, just keep fighting. I mean, obviously just take one day at a time. Don't fold over and quit. We don't like quitters here. So keep fighting. There's always sunlight at the end of the tunnel. So,
and with that, that's a wrap on the 35th episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. Thanks again, Cal Scott, for coming on the podcast. Where can people follow you on social media if you want them to?
On Instagram, it's CalScott31. On Twitter, it's CScott2433 or something like that. And yeah, that's all I got.
Give Cal Scott a follow.
Yes, sir.
And make sure to give the Roughnecks a follow as well. Be sure to tune in next week. I have another friend of mine joining the show. This time it's a college buddy. But until then, you know the deal. Life is going to throw us adversity and knock us on our asses. Get up, grab the bull by the horns, and control your future. The adversity doesn't define you, but how you handle it does. Keep pushing, and until next week, Roughnecks out. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. If you like this episode, be sure to rate and review and then subscribe so that you don't miss any of our future episodes. If If you'd like to contact me, you can message me on social media at Roughnecks Podcast on Instagram and Twitter at RoughnecksPodC1, or you can shoot me an email at roughneckspodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to grab the bull by the horns. But until next week, Roughnecks out.
Oh, thank you.